Hey everybody, Dawnmist here, and I'm excited to talk about the latest Warriors book, Hidden Moon. This is the second book in the 9th arc, Changing Skies. At the end of the previous book, The Elder's Quest, Leafstar submitted to her clan's wishes and agreed to step down as Sky Clan's leader. The voice in Moonpaw's head became more sinister, and she learned from Bayshine and Thriftier that this orange cat is her sister who died as a kid. Tawnypelt fell into a pit and briefly went to StarClan, where Bluestar warned her of a great change, a two-faced cat, and that she must be the one to lead the clans out of the moonless dark and onto a new path. So, what's going on with our favorite fictional cats now? Let's begin! We start with a prologue from Brambleclaw's POV. He's in the past playing with Aldrikit and Sparkkit. As he realizes it's a dream, it changes to StarClan and Leafpool gives him a message for all the clans. A fight is coming and they must be ready. After her fall, Tawnypelt is recovering in the Sky Clan camp under the care of Frecklewish and Fidgetflake. She's extremely drowsy from taking poppy seeds, and though she tries to relay Bluestar's message to Tigerstar and Shadowsight when they visit, she's unable to get the words out and falls asleep. She meets Rowanclaw in her dream and repeats the prophecy to him, expressing her worry about not warning the clans in time. She's comforted by his presence and tells him, "You're the only one who can help me." Tawnypelt is completely unaware that she's mumbling bits of this dialogue in her sleep while Starlingpaw is changing moss in the medicine den. Starlingpaw has replaced Leafstar as our SkyClan POV. He uneasily hears her talk about a two-faced cat, a moonless dark, and a danger coming to the clan. And when Starlingpaw gets close, her eyes actually open as she says, "You're the only one who can help me." She was speaking to Rowanclaw in her dream, but poor Starlingpaw thinks the words are directed at him, that StarClan is sending this prophecy to him through Tawnypelt. He is inspired by the idea that he's special, given a chance by StarClan to redeem himself after Kite Scratch's death. Now, Starlingpaw confirms in this chapter that he really did interfere with the Badger attack because he wanted to help. It wasn't a plan by anyone, nor did a ghost or evil force lead him there like I previously predicted. Though we will talk about Starlingpaw and ghosts later in this video. Leafstar tries to go to the moonpool with Hawkwing and Fidgetflake to give up her 9 lives, but they find it blocked off by huge blue walls and monsters. The two legs are definitely about to do something to the moonpool. As Fidgetflake tries to reassure the troubled clan, Starlingpaw observes that he's acting like both a leader and a medicine cat, and it leads him to brew up a crazy conspiracy theory that Fidgetflake is the two-faced cat. And when he accidentally and harmlessly gives Leafstar the wrong herb, Starlingpaw starts to suspect that he drugged Leafstar with extra poppy seeds while the clan planned to depose her, and that he even kept Tawnypelt sedated to keep her quiet about the prophecy. Fidgetflake? Our good old fidget spinner cat would never do such a thing. Though readers have craved a medicine cat villain for a long time, so it would be nice if we did get a real story like this at some point. SkyClan calls an emergency gathering to tell everyone about the moonpool being blocked off. While senior cats like Squirrelstar and Crowfeather agree that the threat must be taken seriously, the clans decide to wait and see what happens. Of course. Meanwhile in ThunderClan, Moonpaw is focusing hard on her training to ignore her sister's voice. But when she wakes up outside the nursery one night after a troubling dream, she's terrified of what the orange cat could make her do. She already knows that the orange cat, or perhaps Moonpaw herself, led Sunkit out of the nursery and left him frightened. To keep her clanmates safe, Moonpaw tries her best not to sleep, leaving her exhausted. Eventually, she admits to Jayfeather that she's afraid of sleepwalking, but doesn't tell him her reasoning. Still, Jayfeather and Alderheart allow her to sleep in the medicine den for the next quarter moon, where they can keep an eye on her and stop her if she sleepwalks. Interestingly, while keeping watch over Moonpaw, Jayfeather senses there's another cat in the den, though he knows there's no one there. So he's aware there's something more going on with her. When Tawnypelt has recovered, she returns to ShadowClan and tells Tigerstar about the prophecy Bluestar gave her. But, as anyone could have predicted, he doesn't believe her. He thinks it was just a regular dream she had under the influence of poppy seeds, and that StarClan would speak to him or the medicine cats if they really had a message. Of course, Tawnypelt is frustrated. Tigerstar already dismissed her concerns about the two-leg construction before. Now StarClan has confirmed she's right to worry, yet her son still won't listen. Honestly, why can't StarClan just visit these leaders and be like, "Hey, this is true, you should listen"? They're so great at making these cats' lives difficult. Meanwhile in SkyClan, Hawkwing refuses to take over as leader without StarClan's approval, though Leafstar wills Hawkwing to take the lead as much as he likes and only turn to her if necessary. Technically, it's a joint leadership. Back to ThunderClan, Brambleclaw steps on something sharp outside the dirt place and grows ill and feverish as his paw gets infected. He summons Tawnypelt the ThunderClan, wanting her company. Moonpaw dreams of the orange cat, who wants to play games with her. When Moonpaw refuses, she's shocked when Brambleclaw appears in her dream, and the orange cat whispers to him. Because he's sick and dozing off, she's able to reach him and wants him to stay between worlds with her. Brambleclaw tells Tawnypelt about this dream, and she begins to wonder if Moonpaw is the two-faced cat with a paw in two worlds due to her sleepwalking. Starlingpaw goes to the gathering, and interestingly enough, he sees the orange cat with Moonpaw. He figures it's an apprentice he hasn't been introduced to, but as she playfully teases cats around the clearing who take no notice of her, Starlingpaw grows troubled. He wonders if he can see spirits like his kin Rootspring and Tree, but he dismisses it, figuring there must be an explanation. Well, it looks like Starlingpaw can see spirits after all. Against Tiger Star's wishes, Tawnypelt reveals her dream and Blue Star's message to everyone at the gathering. When she speaks of a two-faced cat, naturally, almost everyone looks to Moonpaw, much to her distress. Many cats are skeptical of Tawnypelt's supposed message from StarClan, but Leaf Star and Squirrel Star believe her, and many senior cats do too. Crowfeather proposes sending a patrol to the tribe of Rushing Water to try speaking with Feathertail, since she walks both StarClan and the tribe of Endless Hunting, and the leaders agree. After the gathering, Tiger Star is angry with Tawnypelt for speaking out. She tries to make him understand the truth in Blue Star's message, but he still won't believe it. She decides to go to ThunderClan for a few days to be with Brambleclaw, speak to Squirrel Star about the prophecy, and keep an eye on Moonpaw, who she suspects is the two-faced cat. Tiger Star allows it, but warns her that if she stays away too long, he might not let her return. Tawnypelt doesn't believe Tiger Star would really exile her, but decides she'll come back to ShadowClan when she's ready, not when he makes her. After Crowfeather's suggestion, the leaders send a patrol to the mountains to see if they can communicate with StarClan through Feathertail, and ask what to do about the unreachable moonpool. Yay, we all love a tribe visit. No, I actually don't mind them because I get to see how my first favorite Warriors character, Stormfur, is doing. We have Crowfeather and Hootwhisker from WindClan, Shadowsight from ShadowClan, Ivypool from ThunderClan, and Duskfur from RiverClan. There's Fidgetflake from SkyClan, and after some debate, he's joined by our POV Starlingpaw and his mentor Nectarsong. Starlingpaw is excited and curious about the tribe, but his mind is quite occupied with his suspicion of Fidgetflake. Along the way, he questions him about his vote against Leaf Star, and even hints at him overdosing her on poppy seeds, offending him. Settle down, buddy. He reveals to Stormfur and Brook's son, Feather, a bit of the situation with the moonpool and Tawnypelt's vision, admitting he thinks one of his fellow travelers is a traitor. Feather is shocked at this and warns him that this kind of suspicion could destroy the clans, and he should instead focus on being the best warrior he can be to support his clan. For the first time, it occurs to Starlingpaw that Tawnypelt might not have meant to tell him anything, and that he might not have a special role in saving the clans. He's confused and sad about everything. I'm going to continue talking about the tribe journey here, then return to Moonpaw and Tawnypelt. Crowfeather successfully communicates with Feathertail in the Cave of Pointed Stones and tells the others what she said. StarClan is still watching over the clans even though they can't communicate with them through the moonpool. The Medicine Cat should watch for signs they might send, and this will be a time of great change for the clans. Whether the change is good or bad depends on the choices the clans make, but Crowfeather seems sad and thoughtful, and it looks like there's something he hasn't told the others. On the way back through the mountains, Starlingpaw scrapes his leg, and as he's tended to by Fidgetflake, he guiltily accepts that he was wrong to suspect the Medicine Cat of anything. He decides that being special wouldn't change what happened to Kite Scratch, and he's determined to focus on being the best SkyClan cat he can, as Feather suggested. As they're heading through the mountains, an eagle swoops at Hootwhisker, but Crowfeather attacks the eagle to save his clanmate. He clings to it, fighting to bring it down as it flies away. Then, at a distance, Crowfeather drops to the ground with a thud. He's okay. Right? Right? Back in ThunderClan, Moonpaw hasn't been sleeping much. After the dream with the orange cat and Brambleclaw, she's afraid that sleeping in the medicine den is putting him in danger. Due to her exhaustion, she forgets to sheathe her claws during training and catches Goldenpaw in the eye. Luckily, it's nothing serious, but she feels horribly guilty. Jayfeather convinces her to sleep in the medicine den, promising he'll watch over her. She agrees, but is still worried about affecting Brambleclaw, whose health is still declining. Tawnypelt is wary of Moonpaw, especially knowing she spends time in the medicine den with Brambleclaw. He tells her he's been seeing this orange cat in his dreams again. She wants to play with him and seems sweet, but sometimes they're in the dark forest. It's entirely possible that the orange cat's visitations are being mixed with actual dreams in his feverish state, Brambleclaw's fear of returning to the dark forest. Or is the dark forest up to something? There is a fun moment where Tawnypelt admits to Squirrelstar she has feelings for a Tom in another clan. She teases her playfully and guesses it to be Brackenfur of all cats, which struck me as funny because Rowanclaw was ginger like Brackenfur and Swirltail was calico like Tawnypelt. Imagine Squirrelstar's shock if she finds out it's Crowfeather. She has to be wondering what her friends and sisters see in this man. Moonpaw falls asleep in the medicine den with Brambleclaw, and she dreams of the orange cat, who is frustrated about being ignored. She wants Moonpaw to be like her and not need to sleep, or eat, or be alive. Amazingly, Brambleclaw appears to defend Moonpaw, angrily telling the orange cat she doesn't belong here, and as he gets more aggressive, she actually runs away. When they wake up, Brambleclaw realizes it's Moonpaw's dead sister and reveals that her name was Morningkit. I expected it to be Sunkit or Risekit, but Morningkit is nice and very fitting. It could even refer to her untimely death, Morning. Though Brambleclaw feels sorry for Morningkit, he thinks she might have bad intentions. Right now, he's able to defend Moonpaw from her, but she needs to know how to take care of herself when he's gone. Moonpaw confides in Brambleclaw about the situation, relieved to finally have someone who understands and can help her. He thinks Morningkit isn't even a ghost, because ghosts would stay the same age they were when they died. She's somehow attached herself to Moonpaw, the life she never got to have, and that might be how she's aging at the same rate. Tawnypelt visits Brambleclaw, who tells her he's received a message from Bluestar for her. She said to heed StarClan's warning, for she is the one they entrusted with the prophecy, but time is running out. Bluestar repeats, the eldest trees in the forest can see what fresh seedlings cannot, and he and Tawnypelt figure they need to speak to the elders of all the clans and see if they can learn anything, before it's too late and the knowledge dies with them. Finally, another living cat has proof about the prophecy to support Tawnypelt's claims. Sadly, it's probably not going to do much good, because like Tawnypelt, Brambleclaw has a fever. Tigerstar is immediately going to dismiss it as a fever dream and say Bluestar and the prophecy only appeared in it because Tawnypelt has been there with Brambleclaw talking about it. Brambleclaw thinks maybe if Moonpaw shows Morningkit how loved she was in her short life and how she would be happier in StarClan with other cats to play with, it might help her move on to StarClan. She asks Bayshine and Thriftier about Morningkit, and they tell her how happy they were to be expecting, how they fought to save sickly Morningkit, and how the elders buried her in the prettiest place they could find, where Bayshine and Thriftier would visit regularly. Moonpaw goes to see Morningkit in the lake's reflection and tells her all this, encouraging her to go to StarClan where she won't be lonely anymore. But Morningkit is angry at Moonpaw's attempt to get rid of her, arguing that she'd still be lonely because she doesn't know cats in StarClan. She expresses anger toward Moonpaw for stealing her life and slashes her claws down Moonpaw's back, causing her to bleed. Also, Fernstripe and Shelfer have their kits, Shykit, Puffkit, and Leapkit. Designs coming soon. So, let's start with the most concerning matter. Is Crowfeather okay? I know he's been around a long time, and there is something poetic about him dying in the mountains just like Feathertail. But he's one of my top favorite characters, and I don't want to see him go. I really want him to live to become Crowstar. Starlingpaw guessed from the start that Crowfeather was hiding something about his meeting with Feathertail. He hesitates before confirming all she said. He spends the night staring solemnly at the waterfall, and as the cats leave the tribe, he's looking over each of his companions thoughtfully. My guess is Feathertail told him that one cat would die or not make it out of the mountains, or at least that something bad would happen to someone. He wondered which cat it would be. Maybe after Starlingpaw fell and injured his leg, Crowfeather felt some relief, thinking that was it. Then he must have thought it was Hootwhisker and fought to save him from the eagle, unaware this was his own fate. I'm guessing the prologue for the next book will be Crowfeather's dream with Feathertail, and we'll get to hear exactly what she told him and what was running through his mind. But he just fell, like, a little ways, right? He probably landed on the one pile of leaves in all the mountains or something. He's fine. I do have a theory that supports Crowfeather's survival. Tawnypelt already died, or nearly died, when she fell in the pit, and that's when she received a message from Bluestar. Brambleclaw was in poor health and feverish, you could say closer to death, when he got a message from Bluestar too. These are both senior cats who went on the journey to the Sundrown place, and who else went? Squirrelstar and Crowfeather. What if Crowfeather is next to be visited? He's just been dropped to the ground by an eagle. If he's not dead, he's definitely not in good shape. In near-death conditions, is he going to get a message from Blue Star too, or some other StarClan cat? And could Squirrel Star be next? Maybe she's going to lose a life and get a message herself. All the original cats who were chosen by StarClan, who understand the severity of the situation, and could lead the clans again on a journey to a new home. Now, let's talk about Morningkit. Again, I think this is a very fitting name for her. Not just the day to Moonpaw's night, but it could also mean mourning like grieving, referring to her early death, and how Morningkit herself is still mourning the life she lost. Besides her name, we learn some interesting things about her in this book. For one, she seems to be becoming more powerful. We got a taste of this when she lured Sunkit out of the camp, but now she can control Moonpaw's body when she's asleep. She can move physical objects, like when she pulls apart the nest Moonpaw makes and moves a piece of prey across the camp. Sunbeam is even aware when Morningkit pulls her tail, but accuses Moonpaw of it. And most alarmingly, at the end of the book, she slices her claws down Moonpaw's back. She can physically harm living cats, and the more angry she gets with Moonpaw, the more she's probably going to do it. But how far will she go? She said many times how she wants Moonpaw to be like her, and though she longs for her company, she also resents her for surviving. Would Morningkit go as far as to kill Moonpaw so they could be together? And thinking about this theory, if Moonpaw died, would she be stuck in a ghostly state forever with Morningkit? Would she prevent Moonpaw from going to StarClan? Or would Morningkit be willing to go there since Moonpaw would be with her? There's another really interesting comment Morningkit made. At the gathering, when the clans discuss the idea of leaving the lake, she tells Moonpaw, "You can't go, I'm here." So is Morningkit physically attached to Moonpaw? If she was, she should be able to go wherever Moonpaw goes. Her concern suggests that she's actually more tied to the lake territories where she was buried. If the clans leave the lake, it sounds like it's possible that Morningkit would be left behind, which is pretty sad. We already have the blurb for Book 3, Chasing Shadows, so let's theorize. If you haven't read the blurb yet and don't want spoilers, I would advise leaving the video at this point. Moonpaw finally confesses to her clanmates that her dead sister has been torturing her in her mind, and the clan rallies around her in support. But as Moonpaw grows closer to Goldenpaw, her sister's threats become more ominous and even turn bloody. Moonpaw worries she's a danger to her entire clan. Would they be better off without her? Tawnypelt is sure that the prophecy she received from Blue Star is a dire warning, and she believes that only the elders can see the clans through the upcoming danger. Frustrated with his mother, Tigerstar bans her from speaking of the prophecy, so Tawnypelt takes refuge in ThunderClan. She begins to wonder if her true place is in the clan of her birth. Amidst all this, Starlingpaw grows bolder in his belief that he alone must save the clans, but can an apprentice really hold the key to their salvation? So Moonpaw is finally going to tell ThunderClan about Morningkit, and they're going to believe and support her. This is great to hear, especially when Tawnypelt has had so much difficulty convincing Tigerstar of things. I'm sure Jayfeather and Brambleclaw's accounts of the other cat will play a key role in persuading everyone, and Squirrelstar would never doubt her mate and foster son. But Morningkit is definitely going to be more angry than ever now. She wanted Moonpaw to keep her a secret, and now she's told not only one cat but the entire clan. What's more, a close friendship or romance is forming between Moonpaw and Goldenpaw, and Morningkit is going to be very jealous, adding to her rage. Her threats become more ominous and even bloody. Is she going to try to kill Goldenpaw? Will she harm more ThunderClan cats to make Moonpaw pay for betraying her? She is a serious threat, I think possibly the worst the clans have seen. She's not a living cat who can be seen and dealt with. She doesn't even need a body like Ashfur did to cause harm to others. She's invisible, and based on how she sliced Moonpaw's back open, doesn't this mean she could just go slash someone's throat and they'd never see it coming? This is crazy. Moonpaw worries she's a danger to ThunderClan and seems to be considering leaving. But where would she go? What can she do to stop Morningkit and convince her to move on to StarClan? Hidden Moon revealed that Moonpaw is no longer the only cat who can see Morningkit. Most importantly, I think, we have Brambleclaw. Morningkit is only able to reach him in dreams while he's sick and feverish, between worlds, as she puts it. He becomes Moonpaw's guardian and is able to scare Morningkit away. Probably because even though Morningkit is aging with Moonpaw, she's still a kit on the inside and afraid of a full-grown cat who might be able to hurt her. But as Brambleclaw recovers, he won't be able to see Morningkit and defend Moonpaw from her, and his suggestion to tell Morningkit about her life only made her more angry. And then we have Starlingpaw. Myself and many others had theories that, like Tree and Rootspring, Starlingpaw inherited the sister's ability to see ghosts, and this had something to do with his appearance at the Badger attack and Kite Scratch's death. Surprisingly, we were wrong about this event, but it looks like he can in fact see ghosts. He sees Morningkit running around at the gathering and thinks it's a troublesome apprentice he hasn't met, but as no other cat notices her and she vanishes, he wonders if it was a ghost. He sort of dismisses this after and doesn't think about it again for the rest of the book. I'm doubtful that ThunderClan will tell the other clans about Morningkit tormenting Moonpaw, but I think Starlingpaw is going to see her again, and being the only other cat who can, unless Tree and Rootspring do, he'll end up playing a key role in helping Moonpaw be free of her. Even if Starlingpaw heard the prophecy by accident, I think he is meant to help save the clans using his ghost-seeing abilities. In the blurb, we learn that Tigerstar will ban Tawnypelt from talking about the prophecy. Of course. Ugh. So it looks like he does allow her back into ShadowClan. She speaks to some elders, and Tigerstar's had it. She goes back to ThunderClan and wonders if her true place is in her birth clan. She should stay there, at least until the prophecy is fulfilled. ThunderClan actually takes her seriously. Her becoming another ThunderClan POV so often makes me wonder if Moonpaw is going to leave for a while. I'm guessing she might go to SkyClan to confide in Tree and Rootspring, since Squirrelstar knows they see ghosts. Maybe Tree can even mediate Moonpaw and Morningkit, or try to. Or maybe Moonpaw will go on a quest to meet the sisters or the Wildcats who might be able to help her. And if Morningkit is stuck at the lake, maybe Moonpaw would be free of her for a while. But this would mean leaving behind an angry Morningkit for the clans to deal with. Maybe that's where Starlingpaw comes in, being the only one to see and keep her at bay. Things are getting very interesting, and I think the clans are going to leave the lake this arc, which is an exciting change. We've been at the lake for 5.5 arcs now, and it's time for some new scenery. Tawnypelt is going to talk to some elders, and it looks like some of them will hold some important information about where the clans should go, or where another place like the moonpool could be. But which elders hold the answers? The ThunderClan elders and the ShadowClan elder Oakfur will be the first Tawnypelt speaks to, so I don't think it's them. In SkyClan we have Followfern, Sparrowpelt, and Cherrytail. In WindClan it's Whiskernose and Nightcloud, and in RiverClan it's Mosspelt. My biggest candidate is actually Cherrytail. When SkyClan left the gorge, she stayed behind at Barley's barn for a while before rejoining SkyClan. Barley always welcomes travelers, so it's very possible she heard about a significant place from someone. Barley himself is an elder, so maybe if the clans head toward the forest, he'll have some more useful information for them. But Mosspelt and Oakfur are the oldest cats in the forest, so who knows if they have some interesting stories themselves. Well, that's what I have to say about Hidden Moon. Changing Skies number 3, Chasing Shadows, releases on March 31st. Thanks for watching this Dawnmist. Wait, I have to wait 5 months to find out if Crowfeather is alive?